I am beyond lyrically Einsteinian. I am beyond lyrically Einsteinian. It is, of course, extremely toxic, but that's the least of the problem. It is hypergolic with every known fuel and so rapidly hypergolic that no ignition delay has ever been measured. It is also hypergolic with such things as cloth, wood, and test engineers, not to mention asbestos, sand, and water with reacts explosively, never endingly for eternity infinity. It can be kept in some of the ordinary structural metals, steel, copper, aluminum, titanium, etc. because of the formation, equation, annihilation, invasion of the film of insoluble metal fluoride rhyme, which protects the bulk of the metal, rapple, a razzle, a dazzle, a purple, a snapple, a shizzle, my nizzle, hustle the devil, just as the invisible coat of oxide on aluminum, titanium, keeps it from burning up in the atmosphere. Beer, drinking all of these beers, I do a dear if I drink another beer. If, however, this coat is melted or scrubbed off and has no chance to reform, the operator is confronted with the problem of coping, rapid never ending, with a metal fluorine, fire for dealing with this situation, equation, annihilation, invasion. I have always recommended a good pair of running shoes, spitting to you. Yes, it's true. I'll never stop spitting to you for all of eternity. Times Square can never shine as bright as you. I'll never stop spitting, speaking to you. The echoes inside of my head won't stop speaking and rapping again. The echoes inside of my head won't stop speaking and rapping again. A troubled mind can make rocket science out of nearly anything. Rapping a din-da-da-din. We can build rockets to explore outer space and enhance the quality of life on Earth, or we can use them to destroy other nations. Rapping equation. 300 years ago, mathematicians were learning the break of cannonballs rise and fall into stair steps of range, rapping to range and height, X and Y, allowing them to grow smaller and smaller, approaching zero as armies of eternally shrinking midgets galloped upstairs and down again, rapping again and a patter of their diminishing feet, growing finer, smoothing out and into continuous sound. This analytic legacy has been handed down intact. Rap it brought the technicians Peen Monday to peer at the Ascania films of rocket flights, frame by frame, X by Y, flightless themselves film and calculus, both pornographies of flight, rhymes, never ending all day and all night. Inside of my mind, the echoing rhymes, scientifically rhyme. I can rhyme Einsteinian and Shakespearean, never ending all night. Perfection belongs to narrated events, not to those we live. The cell belongs to the brain, and it is my brain, the brain of me who is spitting, and the cell is in question, and within it, the atom in question is in charge of my spitting, writing. I don't write my stuff, I spit it in a gigantic menu skilled game which nobody has yet described. Rhyme is that which at this instant spat it issuing out of labyrinth fine, a triangle of yeses and nos, makes my hand run along a certain path. Rap on the paper, a rapper forever. Mark it with these volutes that are signs, rhymes, a double snap rap up and down between two levels of energy, rapping relentlessly for eternity, infinity, never endingly. Guides his hand, a mind to impress on the paper. This dot here, this one, ba-bum, bum, ba-bum. Our ignorance allowed us to live as you are in the mountains, rapping upon it, and your rope is frayed and about to break, but you don't know it and feel safe. Rap away goes the day as I'm shouting out into a lake, raps a scientific light all day. If it is true that there is no greater sorrow than to remember a happy time in a state of misery, rapping never endingly, it is just as true that calling up a moment of anguish and tranquil mood seated quietly at one's desk is a source of profound satisfaction. Rapping attraction, a subtraction, a division, of a spitting never ending my vision. We are not dissatisfied with our choice choices and with what life has given us. But when we meet, we both have a curious and non-unpleasant impression that a veil, a breath, a throw of the dice deflected us onto two divergent paths, which were not ours, but spent all night and all day. The echoing lyrics, okay, today. Echo through my head, the infinite lyrics again. In real life, I assure you, there's no such thing as algebra, blah, 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 blah. Goosefraba, medulla oblongata algebra. Friendship is something that gets harder to understand every damn year of my life. Friendship is like a kind of algebra test and nobody passes, rapping about kicking your asses. In my worst moods, I think the way the best you can say is that a friend is anyone you don't despise. Rhymes he could not have believed not that any of them might actually hit somebody. Rap karate, ice demon spitting rhymes telepathically out my mouth from inside me. If one did, nowhere a way to go. Killed by accident, slain not as an individual, rapping not indestructible, but by sheer statistical probability, rapping endlessly for all of eternity, infinity, never-endingly, by the calculated chance of search and fire, even as he himself might be at any moment. Mathematics, algebra, geometry, spitting rapidly when first and 3D squads came diving and tumbling back, rap over the tiny crest, raps in a mess. Bell was content to throw himself prone. Well, there if I go, press his cheek to the earth, shut his eyes, and lie there. God, oh God, why am I here? Rapping the atmosphere. Why am I here? After a moment's thought, he decided he better change it to why are we here? That way, no agency of retribution could exact a payment from him for being selfish, rapping relentless. I wouldn't have minded school if they taught you important things like how to have good sex and what brand of wine is the best, but for some reason they are hell-bent on teaching me algebra, goosefraba, medulla oblongata. But algebra did not simply ease how numbers were depicted or calculated, but fundamentally revolutionized how to operate efficiently, rapping sufficiently. In essence, the algebra mindset transformed broken situations into dynamic opportunities, rapping never-endingly for all eternity, infinity, for lasting impact. And it did so with elegant equations, precise numerals, and dynamic efficiency. The world would never be the same. Rapping into the on the bay and spitting into the lake all day. What music is to the heart, mathematics is to the mind. Rhymes. I made an appointment to see him and then ordered another beer. Oh, dear, and a female dear. Oh, I need another beer. While I was drinking it, I did that some doodling, and on a piece of paper. The algebraic kind that will help you think more clearly. When I finished doing that, I was more confused than ever. Algebra was never my strong subject. Spitting I spat at, sometimes in studying Raman Nujoan's work. George Andrews said at another time, I have wondered how much Raman Nujoan could have done if he had MA, CS, YMA, or a scratch pad, or some other symbolic algebra package. Rapping never spitting a spat it. I go inside of my head to spitting the Einsteinian lyrics again, but just in proportion as the process of extermination has acted on an enormous scale, so must the number of intermediate varieties which have formerly existed by truly enormous. Why then is not every geological formation and every stratum full of such intermediate links? Geology assuredly does not reveal any such finely graduated organic chain away day to day, and this perhaps is the most obvious and serious objection which can be urged against the theory rapping there endingly. The explanation lies, as I believe, in the extreme imperfection of geological record. Rapper a spitter, a carpenter's daughter has won a name for herself and deserved to win it, spit it, a spatter. No fossil is buried with its birth certificate. That and a scarcity of fossils means that it is effectively impossible to link fossils. It's effectively impossible to link fossils in the chains of cause and effect in any valid way a day. On rapping all night and all day, scientific all day, to take a line of fossils and claim that they represent a lineage is not a scientific hypothesis. The definition of hypothesis is an educated guess that can be tested, but an assertion that carries the same validity as a bedtime story, amusing, perhaps even instructive, but not scientific, rapid automatic scientific. The idea that one can go to the fossil record and expect to empirically recover an ancestor-descendant sequence, be it of species, genera, families, or whatever, has been and continues to be a pernicious illusion, rapid intrusion. The phrase "the fossil record" sounds impressive and authoritative, as used by some persons. It becomes from a fee-fi-fo-fum as intended, intimidating, taken in on the aura of esoteric truth as expounded by an elite class of specialists of rapping the infinitist. But what is it really? The fossil record, only data in search of interpretation. All claims to the contrary that I know, and I know of several, are superstition, rapping equation invasion. There it goes inside of my head, the echoing lyrics scientifically again. You can't teach calculus to a chimpanzee, so just share your banana. The shit is bananas, P-A-N-A-N-A, blah, blah, nana. Nana bite me, rhyming to me. Normal, she wanted normal, and so did I. You know what's normal? What? She wiped away her remaining tears. Calculus, rapping up, what music is to the heart, mathematics is to the mind, rhyme. Yet, in another way, calculus fundamentally naive, almost childish in optimism, rapid anti-establishmentarian, supercalifragilistic, ferocious experience teaches us that change can be sudden, discontinuous, and wrenching. Calculus draws its power by refusing to see that rap. It insists on a world without accidents, where one thing leads logically to another. Give me the initial conditions and the law of motion and the calculus, best I can predict the future, or better yet, reconstruct the past. I wish I could do that now. Pow, pop you one in the mouth. I abandoned the assigned problems in standard calculus textbooks and follow my curiosity, rapping relentlessly for all eternity, infinity, never endlessly, wherever I happen to be. Vegas, casino, Disneyland, surfing in Hawaii, or sweating on the elliptical in Bassel's green micro gym. I ask myself, where is the calculus in this experience? Rapping delirious, considering how many fools can calculate. It is surprising that it should be thought either a difficult or tedious task for any other fool to do. I rule on you, drool, to learn how to master the same tricks. Some calculus tricks are quite easy. Some are enormously difficult. The fools who write the textbooks are advanced mathematics, rapping automatic, scientific, and they are mostly clever fools. Seldom take the trouble to show you how easy the easy calculations are, spitting from afar. On the contrary, they seem to desire to impress you with their tremendous cleverness. Rapping with my rhymes, I am obsessed with by going about it in the most difficult way. Away goes the day, being myself a remarkably stupid fellow, a fellow. I have had to unteach myself the difficulties on, and now beg to present to my fellow fools the parts that are not hard. Master these thoroughly, and rest will follow. But what one fool can do, never can. They say knowledge is power, but stupidity is. They got the numbers. Rapper forever. There's a spitting of thunder. I'm spitting from under. The question of whether a computer question of whether a computer can think is no more interesting than the question of whether a submarine can swim. The best programs are written so that computer machines can't perform them quickly, and so that human beings can't understand them clearly. A programmer is ideally an essayist who works with a traditional aesthetic, the literary forms as well as mathematical concepts to communicate the way that an algorithm works and to convince a reader that the results will be correct, spent in a wraps in a mess, seemingly an innocuous language like, oh, I'm flexible, indestructible, unstoppable, or what do you want to do tonight, has a dark computational underbelly that should make you think twice. It has the veneer of kindness about it, but it does not too deeply alarming things. First, it passes the cognitive buck. Here's a problem, you handle it. Second, spat it by not stating your preferences, rapid and relentless, invites the others to stimulate or imagine them, rhythm anthem. And as we have seen, ding ding ding, the simulation of the minds of others is one of the biggest computational challenges a mind rhyme can ever face, or machine. Well, writing novels is incredibly simple, and author sits down and writes. Granted, most writers I know are a bit strange, deranged, some downright weird, but then again, you have to be to be creatively, to spend hundreds and hundreds of hours sitting in front of a computer wrapper forever screen, staring at the lines of information equation is pretty tedious, more like a computer program, a wrapper forever. And no matter how cool the Matrix made looking a code seem, computer programmers are even weirder than authors. Wrapper forever. The most important property of a program is whether it accomplishes the intention of its user. Wrapper abuser. If you aren't at any time scandalized by code you wrote 5 or even 3 years ago, you're not learning anywhere near enough. I don't know how many of you have ever met but you probably know the arrogance in computer science is measured by Dijkstra. Dijkstra, a rhyme forever. See is quirky, flawed, and an enormous success. I think that it's extraordinarily important that we in computer science keep having fun in computing. When it is started out, it was an awful lot of fun, but of course the paying customers got shafted every now and then, and after a while we began to take their complaints seriously. Rapid and relentlessly began to take their complaints seriously. We began to feel as if we really were responsible for successful, error-free, perfect use of these machines. Rapid in between, I think we're responsible for stretching them, setting them off in new directions. Rapid and relentless, and keeping fun in the house. Is it possible that software is not like anything else, that it is meant to be discarded, that the whole point is to always see it as soap, a bubble, unstoppable, probable? You are not reading this book, spitting this hook because a teacher assigned it to you. You are reading it because you have a desire to learn. Rapping truth and beauty, be to this earn, and wanting to learn is the biggest advantage you can have. Rapping about wanting to learn is the biggest advantage you can have. Rapping all about when I'm sleeping, I'm rhyming, taking a nap. I even when I dream, I just rap. Even when I dream, I rap, snoring. Oh, this is rhyme. So spending all day on the night in my head. When one gives up on possibility or prospects of personal growth aligning with nations, one tends to become corrosive to attain growth or destructive to bring the rest down, including the nation. Rapid equation, annihilation, invasion. There goes spitting inside of my head. Being a rocket scientist isn't all that smart when you could work in finance. Rapping on Goddard was not personally religious. Rapping relentless, his most immediate and consistent motivation was a desire for recognition. Rapping on invasion equation as the founding genius of rocket science, reliance, spitting on that defiance. But when launches were delayed, everything moved into a strange sort of limbo. Rapping a launch that was supposed to have gone up one morning but wouldn't attempt again until the next made us all feel we were living in a day that didn't count. A day between parentheses. Rapping a relentless, the deeper the journey into inner space, the fervor of the possibilities in outer space, rapping away goes the day. Even rocket science ain't rocket science nowadays, rapping away, and not compared to negotiating a relationship anyway. Now why don't they teach you the equations for that at college, eh? Just close your eyes and aim in the general direction, rapping a direction, a spatin. If you get into trouble, just press this button, which will lower a bottle of Macallan into your hand and eject your brain clean out of your skull without spitting the ball. You'll parachute safely back to Earth and definitely will not end up in a screaming mass of smoke and hot twisted metal on a hillside somewhere. The dare. No, snare says, where's my snare? Rocket science is not really rocket science. Rapping reliance. There I go spitting again. It is not rocket science. Rapping never ending relentless. There I go spitting inside of my head to spit never ending rhyming again. Inside of my head the rhyming won't stop us again. The rhyming won't stop it again. Alongside the liberating relief of the veteran who tells us his story. I know felt in the right spitting a complex, intense, and new pleasure similar to that I felt as a student when penetrating the solemn order of differentials calculus. It was exalting to search and find or create the right word that is common, serrate, concise, and strong to dredge up events from my memory and describe them with the greatest rigor and the least clutter. Here at this point, I remember that all languages are full of images and metaphors whose origin is being lost together with the art from which they were drawn. Horsemanship having declined to the level of an expensive sport, such expressions as belly to the ground and taking the bit and once deep beneath and intelligible and sound unstoppable, indestructible, and sound odd and even mysterious, delirious, relentless today in the same way since nature is conservative, wrapping on we carry in our Cossacks, what remains of the vanished tale, a whale, a dale, a bale. And finally, there came the customer we always dreamed of, who wanted us as consultants, wrap up a spitting about a halted. Chemistry for me had stopped being such a source. My voice is hoarse. It lead to the heart of matter, and matter was our ally, precisely because the spirit, the merit, dear to the fascism, was our enemy, rapping relentlessly, but having reached a fourth year of pure chemistry, rapping relentlessly the fourth year of pure chemistry. I can no longer ignore the fact that chemistry itself, or at least that which we were being administered, did not answer my questions. Rapid invasion equation, annihilation invasion to prepare phenol, bromide, according to Gatterman, was amusing, even exhilarating, but not very from following truces. Our two C's recipes lie in that particular way. Away goes the day, and not in another rapper forever after having been force fed and the CEO the truths revealed by fascist doctrine, a PhD verbally, all revealed unproven truths, either bored me stiff or aroused my suspicion. Rapid invasion equation, did chemistry theorems exist? Spent into this, no. Therefore, you had to go further, rapper forever, not to be satisfied with the quia. Go back to the origins, to mathematics and physics. The origins of chemistry were ignoble, or at least equivocal. The dens of the alchemists, their abominable hodgepodge of ideas and language, their confessed interest in gold. Behold, their Levantine swindles, typical charlatans or magicians. Instead at the origin of physics lay the strenuous clarity of the West Chimides and Euclid, rhyming a spit in the dit. There you go again. She lived with the doctor of Via Po in a gloomy, dark apartment, barely warmed in winter by just a small Franklin stove. And she no longer threw out anything because everything might eventually come in handy, wrapping their end in the dandy. Not even the cheese rinds or the foil on chocolates with which she made silver balls to be sent to missions to free a little black boy. Well, they're spitting a doy. I'm just a sexy boy. Well, no, I make your ankle hurt? Doesn't it hurt when I spit and I spurt? There it goes inside of my head, the rapping echoing again, scientifically again, scientific rapping again inside of my head. Won't stop speaking again. In time extinction comes for all species. Some level, some leave descendants, others do not. Beautiful as the image is, spit in a disc. There is no tree of life. The shape of biodiversity is more like a chaotic blanket, a spit and a spade it, and individual threads splitting, being snipped off, branching again, wrapping again and again, creating an incredible tangle of species that are both discrete and connected. Spit and a spat, all the species alive in this moment, spit and a moment at the dawn of the Paleogene. The Paleogene will eventually perish, spit and the merit, but some will sprout populations a little different from their point of origin, spit and a spatin, variations that will survive even as their parent species disappear, wrapping up here, disappear, and with them the same ecological dance will begin again of species that exist today will shape what tomorrow looks like from our rhyme, life itself driving the profusion of so many unique forms. We are as utterly reliant on fire today as were our Paleolithic ancestors. We are as utterly reliant on fire today as were our Paleolithic ancestors who huddled around a campfire rhyming forever. We've just hidden it behind the scenes of the modern world as it spins and it whirls and it swirls and it twirls all day and all night, spent in the infinite scientific rhymes all day and all night. I made an appointment to see him and then ordered another beer. Here is vain. There's a spit and away goes the day again and again. Inside of my head, the echoing scientific rhyming again. Inside of my head, dear algebra, stop intimidating me. You know I don't have a maths brain. Away goes the day. I'm a Rayman of words, not numbers. What if love are analogous to math? First arithmetic, then geometry, and then algebra, then trig and quadratics. That's spit and rapid. But who can quantify the algebra of space or weigh those worlds that swim each in its place? Who can outdo the dark? And what computer knows how beauty comes to birth? A shell, a star, and rose. Whoa, there I go. To a scholar, mathematics is music. Spit and I abuse it. I like you when you're algebraic. I like you when you're algebraic, said Ulf, and immediately regretted it, spit and a spat. It was a flirtatious remark describing somebody as algebraic was undoubtedly to cross the line. Ram. You would not normally describe an ordinary friend as algebraic, and then that you liked her that way. Spit and away goes the day. Pre-algebra, it was called. That scared me because it was already hard when it was a pre. What would happen when it was just algebra without the pre? Spit and rhyming never endingly. If you are smart enough to add letters to math problems, you're smart enough to dig your own grave. Rapping away goes the day. I had to do a whole entire 2-page, both front and side and back of exponents, rapping about hold it, finding the product and finding the quotient. My brain has never stopped functioning that quick in the span of 1 second. Didn't even need to pick up a pencil. The paper itself sparked fear into my soul. Swallowing, gobbling my leg cold like an egg roll into a black hole. There I go spitting scientific. Well, behold the book. This book is for all of us this book of rhymes is all for us who looked up at the sky in wonder and then cried when we learned how much calculus separated us from the stars. I'll look it up from afar. If college admissions officers are going to encourage kids to make the same AP math class, why not statistics? Almost every career, whether in busyness, nonprofits, academics, spitting scientific law or medicine, benefits from proficiency in statistics. Being an informed, responsible citizen requires a sound knowledge of statistics, rapping the scientific, as politicians, reporters, rapper forever, and bloggers all rely on data to justify positions, rapping an equation, annihilation, invasion. Voltaire called the calculus the art of numbering and measuring, exactly a thing whose existence cannot be conceived. Rapping, it seems, never endingly, originally, like nobody else can spit like me, it seems. Indeed, see letters concerning the English nation, rapping equation on page 150 52 will spitting to you. Yes, it's true. All the world's a differential equation, and the men and women are merely variables. Rhyming indestructible. Math is a weave of many threads. The formal and the intuitive, the simple and the profound, the momentary and the eternal. Rapping, I love the thread. You love, but never the mistake. It is for the tapestry. To a scholar, mathematics is music. Automatic scientific. Psychology is it's sociology. For sociopaths, mathematics is not just a use. Mathematics is not just a subject of the education system. It's the soul of the education system. Rapid and relentless. Mathematics is not just a subject of the education system. It's the soul of the education system. Rapid equation. Most of his predecessors had considered the differential calculus as bound up with geometry. Biography of Euler made a subject a formal theory of functions, which had no need to revert to diagrams or geometrical conceptions. Carnot, one of a school of mathematicians who emphasized the relationship of mathematics to scientific practice, appears in spite of the title of his work, to have been more concerned about the facility of application of the rules of procedure than about the logical reasoning and and making the basis of the calculus more rigorously formal. Also attacked appeal to the institution of continuous motion, which is implied in Conti's expression that a variable approaches the limit. A spit and a spat. Thus, the required rigor was found in the application of the concept of number, made formal by divorcing it from the idea of geometrical quantity, rapid relentlessly, endlessly, for never endingly, for all of eternity.